The sharpest men I ever knew lost their minds first, and I think I know why. I am 82 years old. I was a country doctor for half a century, and I can still name every patient I treated in the winter of 1971, the smell of their kitchens, the clocks on their walls. That is not luck, and it is not good blood. It is three small things I do every single morning in the same order before the world gets its hands on me. A thing I eat, a quiet thing I do while I eat it, and a thing I do right after in any weather that I never once told a patient about. None of it is a pill. None of it is in a bottle. It costs almost nothing, and I am about to hand you all three for free. But the one in the middle is the one that actually saved me, and it is the one nobody talks about. I practiced in a town small enough that the gas station and the church shared a parking lot. 50 years in the same office with the same brown chair that creaked when a man sat down to tell me bad news. I delivered babies who grew up to bring me their own babies. And the thing that surprised me most in all those years was not about the body at all. It was the mind, and how quietly it slips away from a person. Not all at once, but the way a fog comes in off a field. You do not see it arrive. You just wake up one morning and cannot find the edge of things. And if you have stood in a kitchen lately and forgotten why you walked in, I am not trying to frighten you. I am trying to reach you while there is still time. I watched it happen too many times to count. A man would retire on a Friday, proud and tired, and by the next spring, or the one after, his wife would call me, worried, because he was asking the same question 3 times an hour. Nothing in his blood had changed. His heart was strong. What had changed was his mornings. He had nowhere to be, all of a sudden, after a whole life of being needed by 7 in the morning. And a man with nowhere to be gets quieter and quieter, and then one day you notice the quiet has gotten into his thinking too. I remember one man in particular. I will not give his real name, so let me call him Clyde. He ran the hardware store on the main road for 35 years, give or take. He could tell you which shelf held a 3/8 bolt without looking up from the till. A sharp man, quick with numbers, the sort who fixed the church organ on a Saturday for nothing. He sold the store, and within 2 years, maybe a bit more, his daughter brought him to my office and sat in the brown chair with her hands twisted in her lap. He had left the stove burning twice. He had driven to the old store and stood in the parking lot, confused, because a flower shop stood there now. Nothing in Clyde had broken that I could find with any test I had. A mind like a hinge rusts shut when nothing swings on it. That is the lesson I took from Clyde, and I have leaned on it ever since. But I will be honest with you, because I am too old to sell you something clean. His brother kept that hardware store another 20 years, busy as a bee, sharp as a tack, and lost his mind anyway, faster than Clyde did. Same blood, same town. I never could make that add up. So I tell you what I saw, and I tell you what I do, and I leave a little corner of it I cannot explain. That is when I began to pay attention to my own mornings. Not as a doctor reading a chart, as a man who was getting older and did not want to end up standing in a parking lot looking for a store that was no longer there. So here is the truth of it. Every morning, before anything else, I eat a bowl of plain oats cooked slow on the stove with a handful of walnuts and whatever berries the season gives me. In summer, it is blueberries from the bush by my fence. In January, it is a few frozen ones, soft and dark by the time the oats are done. That is the whole of it. No powder, no pill, nothing from a bottle with a long word on the label. Oats, walnuts, a little fruit. A cup of coffee beside it. Now, I can already hear you. That is it? That is the great secret of the old doctor? And if that were truly all of it, I would not have made this video, because the food is only half. The food is the easy half. The part that actually keeps my mind sharp is what I do while I eat it. And that is the part nobody talks about. I eat that breakfast slowly. I mean, truly slowly. 20 minutes, sometimes longer. I sit at the same kitchen table my wife and I bought in 1968, and I do not bring the television into it. I do not bring the newspaper most days. I do not eat standing at the counter the way the whole world seems to eat now, with one eye on a little glowing screen. I sit down. I look out the window at the bird feeder. I taste the food. That sounds like nothing. I know it does. But let me tell you what is happening in those 20 minutes, because it took me most of my life to understand it. When you wake, your mind is not yet yours. It is foggy, half in a dream, reaching for the day. Most people grab a coffee and a screen and let the noise drag them along. They are awake, but they are not present. The day starts running and they are chasing it from behind. They never once, in those first waking minutes, sat still inside their own head. What that slow breakfast does is simple. It teaches the mind to come fully online before the world floods in. You are tasting something. You are noticing the warmth of the bowl in your hands. You are watching a chickadee land on the feeder and deciding, with no rush at all, whether to put more seed out today. You are using attention, real attention, the kind that gets weak and rusty in a person who never practices it. Attention is a muscle. I am as sure of that as I am sure of anything I learned in all those years. The people I knew who stayed sharp into their 90s were not the ones with the best genes or the cleanest blood pressure. They were the ones who kept doing something each day that asked their full mind to show up. A morning ritual is the simplest version of that. It costs nothing. It asks for nothing but your willingness to slow down. Now let me say a word about the oats and the walnuts, because I do not want you to think the food does not matter. It does. A walnut, if you have ever really looked at one, has the shape of a little brain, two halves and all those folds. The old people in my town used to say, God put a picture on the food to tell you what it feeds. I am not a superstitious man, but I will tell you that the food I described is the kind of food the human body was built on long before any of us were born. Slow grains, a little fat from a nut or a seed, something that grew on a plant and ripened in the sun, nothing in a wrapper, nothing that lasts 5 years on a shelf. I am not going to stand here and tell you that one breakfast cures anything. I treated people for 50 years, and I learned to distrust any man who promises too much. What I will tell you is what I have seen with my own 2 eyes in hundreds of lives. The people who ate plain, real food and who kept their minds busy and their mornings their own did better. Not all of them, but more of them. Enough of them that I changed my own life because of it. There is one more thing, and it may be the most important, so do not look away. After I eat, I walk. Not far, to the end of my road and back, which is about a mile if you count the little hill. I have done it in every kind of weather this part of the country can throw at a man. I have walked in snow up to my knees, in the kind of cold that makes your teeth ache. I have walked in August heat thick enough to chew. And I will tell you why I never skip it, even on the mornings my knees beg me to. It is not really about the heart, though it helps the heart. It is about telling my body and my mind the same thing every single day. We are still here. We are still moving. We still have somewhere to be, even if that somewhere is only the mailbox and back. Get the body out the door, and the rest of you seems to follow along and believe there is a reason for the day. On those walks, I do something I never told my patients, because it would have sounded foolish coming from a doctor in a white coat. I name things, out loud sometimes if no one is near. The maple that lost a branch in the ice storm 2 winters back. The Crandall's old dog, gone now 3 years, 4 maybe, who used to wait for me at the 3rd fence post. The smell of wood smoke from the house on the corner. I make my mind reach out and touch the world and call it by its name. It is the oldest exercise there is. We have been doing it since we lived in caves and had to remember which berries were safe. I will tell you, a young fellow jogging past caught me at it one morning. An old man talking out loud to a maple tree, and the look on his face. I just waved and told him good morning, and the maple says hello too. He laughed so hard he nearly went off the road. We are friends now, the jogger and me. He brings me tomatoes in August, every August. So if naming the world out loud makes you look like a fool, good, look like a fool. You may make a friend out of it. And a fool with a sharp mind beats a serious man who cannot find his car. I have buried most of the friends I started life with, near all of them now. I have sat across that brown desk and told good people the worst news a person can hear. So many times. I know how this goes for all of us. But I also know that the slow morning is the one piece of the day that no one can take from you. The phone can ring with bad news at noon. The afternoon can fall apart. But the morning, those quiet 20 minutes with a warm bowl and a window, that is yours. You build it once, and it holds you up for years. So that is the one thing. And you see now, it was never really one thing at all. It is a bowl of oats with walnuts and fruit, eaten slow with no screen. It is a short walk after, in any weather. It is the decision to be present in the first hour of your day instead of being dragged through it. The food feeds the body. The slowness feeds the mind. Together, they have carried me to 82 with most of my marbles still rattling around in here, and I am grateful for every one of them. If you take nothing else from an old man this morning, take this. Tomorrow, before you reach for the screen, sit down with something simple and warm and just be there for it. 20 minutes. See how the rest of the day feels. If this reached you, do me one small favor. Tap the like button, not for me, but so the next person who is worried about their mind or their mother's mind happens to see it too. That is the only way these quiet videos find the people who need them. And tell me down in the comments, what did you eat for breakfast as a child? I want to know what your grandmother put in front of you. Mine made oatmeal on a black iron stove, and I have been chasing that bowl my whole life. If you would like to sit with me again, subscribe, and I will keep telling you the things I learned in 50 years that they do not print in the books. So tomorrow, sit down with something warm and just be there for it. That oatmeal on the black iron stove is still the best medicine I know. Take care of your mornings, my friend. I will see you in the next one.